Llewellyn Publications. And you can get them at their bookstore website. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it at Walmart, Amazon. Wherever you buy your books, the book is available. And my other books, my other paranormal books, they're also available Amazon, Create Space, Barnes & Noble. If they don't have it in the store, they can order it for you. So any of our books are available wherever you buy your books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How's the book doing right now?
Speaking with Spirits of the Old Southwest is turned into a pleasant little monster. It's surprising. We did not know how this thing would, whether it would take off or how well it was going to be received. We thought we had a good book that some people would find interesting, but it premiered the day it was released. It was the number one new release of that day on Amazon Prime that day, and the Amazon is sold out. I know several times since then. You'll go to order it, and they'll say only one left, only two left, more on order, that sort of thing. So it's selling. I haven't got the statistics yet, but it's selling. It's moving quite well. And we're doing a lot of book signings, and there are a lot of people coming up, really, really interested in the subject. I think we hit on something.
I really think you did. I mean, right, like I was telling you at the beginning of the show, the paranormal is so hot right now, and people are just, gobbling up as fast as they can, digest it. But, the book, too, does it give you ideas of places you can actually go and look for what you guys found?
Yeah, that's one of the purposes of our book is to say, hey, you drive by history every day. If you just stop and walk off the side of the road, there's enormous history right there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there's several places like between I'll say Tombstone and Sierra Vista, Arizona, about a 20-mile distance. There's half a dozen or more either ghost towns or ghost ruins right off the highway that people drive by every day that they don't know are right there. There's a place called you've heard of the Clantons, haven't you? I. Clanton.
Oh yeah.
Wyatt Earp, that battle at the OK Corral.
Oh yeah.
Clantons. Their ranch is right out of Tombstone, and we've been there several times. And it actually has spoken to Old Man Clanton, but that's right off the highway.
Oh wow. How far out of the Tombstone?
7 miles, 10 miles, something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a 10-minute, 15-minute drive max, and you can park your car and you can walk to that place very easily. There are several sites exactly like that. Charleston is there. There's a place called the Brucknell Cabin, we've done work there. There were 21 murders there at that site. That's you can throw a rock and hit the highway from that site. There's a town called Fairbank that has substantial ruins and a nice little museum there.
Now, that one town area you mentioned where there was 21 murders, what type of murders? Do you know what they were?
Yeah, that's the Brucknell Cabin. That's another place that people going to Sierra Vista or Tombstone back and forth, drive by every day. But it is known as the bloodiest ground in Arizona. They know for a fact that there were 21 killings, violent deaths at that site, and it's an old cabin. And today there's nothing left but a few adobe walls that are kind of fenced off, but you can walk right up to the place. And it was, I think I got the date right, back in the 1850s, a man by the name of Brucknell came there, and he is actually responsible for what would become Tombstone, because this is right outside of Tombstone. He discovered silver there, and he had a couple of partners, and he had a bunch of laborers there. And one day his partner went off to, I believe it was Fort Huachuca nearby, to get some supplies. And when he came back, his boss, Brucknell, had been murdered. He'd been shot, stabbed. They ran a 6-inch drill bit through his chest and threw him down the mine.
Oh, wow. That is not a good way to die, I tell you that much.
Not a good way to go. And they kidnapped another partner and took him down to the Mexican line, and they dropped him off, and he came back and told everybody what happened. But there have been 20 more murders out there. It's an extremely violent site. It's the bloodiest ground in Arizona, and it's a historical site. And like I said, you drive by it every day, you never know it, but it's right there.
Now, have you done anything around that? You and your friends?
Yes.
What type of feelings did you get around there?
Actually, Not very much. It was rather pleasant.
Wow.
All the events around the place were not horrible. So you can go to a place where there was terrible violence, but also, at some time that place might have been very pleasant. And you'll run into somebody who just happened to have a pleasant time there, and they were not touched by the horror or the murder or the violence, and they're having a perfectly good time.
Wow, I would think if with that many murders around there, you would have such a negative feel from you know.
That's just the ones we know about.
Oh wow!
But we didn't have any negative feeling at all about the place. Unlike the killing grounds, as soon as you this is just the opposite. As soon as you stepped on the killing ground, you felt bad. You didn't feel evil or anything. You just felt bad. This place you walk up to, we didn't. There were no negative feelings whatsoever.
Wow.
I think a lot of that maybe also has to do with timing. I mean, if we had shown up that maybe coincided with a violent incident, maybe our feelings would have been different. I don't know.
What time of day? Out of curiosity, what time of day were you there?
I think if people will find this interesting. We go out in the daytime. The few times that we've been out at night and done night researches, it's just because it happens to be night when we go out there. I would say 90% of our research is done during the daytime.
Is there any difference between nighttime and daytime with the results?
I don't think there's a bit.
Okay.
Maybe daytime may be a little bit better simply because during the daytime people are out working, and at night they're sleeping. So if they're a spirit, they'll probably be more active during the daytime when they would normally be awake.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if spirits actually sleep or they're just constantly awake, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I read where, it's kind of like a tape recording with a loop. It just plays over and over and over again. But then I don't really agree with that philosophy because if it replays itself over and over again, how could people go there with their cell phone or a recorder and, go home and play it back and they hear like, hi, who are you? Why are you here? I mean, and no one else is around there. I mean, it tells me that whatever is there is totally aware of you being there. That's
what we're finding now. Again, we were talking to the several places, especially the women we talked to at the Sasco site. I said, "Do you see this place as it was then?" And she said, "Yes." Then we said, "Do you see this place as it is now?" She said, "Yes." So the spirits that we talk to are they may be enjoying their life in the past, but they're also aware of our presence there. And I think one of the reasons we are so successful in what we do is our attitude. We go in, real friendly, and so they're more willing to talk to us.
Yeah, I really think they can tell, what your intentions are too. Unfortunately,
well, imagine say if I walked into your house, just showed up and said, "Hey, talk to me. What was it like? What's going on? What do you feel?" How would you feel? Well, you kick me out of your house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or so you certainly wouldn't talk to me. So we go in with the same approach. You said, we're in your house, we're in your space. We appreciate you allowing us to be here. If you want us to go, give us a signal and we will leave. But otherwise, we would like to talk to you. Would you please converse with us? And I think that that non-confrontational approach works very well. I think a lot of these, especially in the places that are very popular where ghost hunters go, I think probably the spirits get real tired of hearing the same question over and over and over again.
I would think so.
Yeah, they're probably happy to have somebody just show up and talk.
Well, one thing I've had a couple. I have one group, Southern Paranormal. They're a great group, and they take ghost hunting, looking for evidence of life after, very seriously. I've had other groups, I actually had to disconnect one group off the show because, I interviewed them. I said, okay, well, can you tell me how you go looking for spirits and ghosts? And, their answer is, well, we gone to a couple people's houses that claim they had ghosts, and we spent an hour or two there. And if we don't get anything, we leave. But most of the conversation for like an hour wasn't so much about ghost hunting. It was they're trying to get picked up by a cable channel for their group. And, it upset me so much. I finally hit the button and said, "Hey, good night. It was nice having you on the show." I mean, they weren't looking to really find any evidence. They were looking to try and market themselves to make money.
Yeah, see, well, that wouldn't work with us. I mean, outside of the fact that we're talking with people who are maybe 10,000 years old, what we do doesn't make what they would call good video, because we're just sitting there having a conversation. It's not dramatic, with the few exception of the emotional times that I told you about. It's not very dramatic at all. We're just trying to talk to people and find out about their lives.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think the spirits appreciate that approach. Let me say one thing real quick.
Yeah, please do.
We don't call ourselves ghost hunters. We like to consider ourselves ghost conversationalists, because that's what we do. We don't hunt anybody. We try to have conversations.
And what was the best conversation you've had so far? One that really sticks in your head, that you went home and you couldn't even sleep at night because you were so engrossed of the conversation you had.
That has to be the incident at Hoptown that I told you about. That was so emotional. I literally could not discuss that for 3 days. I wanted to tell my wife about it, but I would start to say something and I would start tearing up. It was that emotional. It was that powerful. I couldn't talk about it for 3 days.
Oh, that really must have hit you. Now, how's your wife take? I know she's probably really super proud of you for writing all these books, but going out and having conversations and trying to get conversations and all that stuff, how's your spouse take it?
She is interested in what I'm doing. She's not as obsessed with it as I am, but she's very extremely supportive. Let me put it that way: extremely supportive. She understands this is what this part of my life is all about. This is really the focus of my life right now. She understands that and supports it, and is interested in what I'm doing.
Well, that's really good when you have a wife that will stand by you and support it. Now. When you go out and you talk, and I take it you give lectures about this too?
Yeah, we speak at museums or at bookstores. If they're doing a signing, we'll do a signing or a presentation.
What type of audience do you get? I mean, how do they? I mean, back, let's say 15 years ago, if you talked about, talking to, spirits, people would label you. I had a couple really strange things happened to me, paranormal in my life. And, I didn't even talk about it for, almost 20 years till I started, getting back into broadcasting after being out of it for a while and, talked about it on the show. Only because, 20 years ago, if I would have said, hey, I ran into a Bigfoot, you know what? People would have labeled me. And the bad part is my friend that was with me, he was a medical doctor, so he had more to lose than me at the time, because he would have lost his medical practice real fast. But now people are open, like they have never been. So, talking spirits, I've had people on my show that they said they were sitting watching TV, and all of a sudden they saw somebody just walk down the hallway, and there was nobody there when they got up. They thought somebody broke into their house.
Exactly. Yeah, we get a few people who will come up and they'll go, "Oh, well, of course, I've never seen a ghost, but a friend of mine tells me a story," and then they relate something that actually happened to them. They're just afraid to say it. But mostly, we get people who are really interested, who they want to know more about an experience that they've had, and they're not too shy about saying, I had something strange happen to me. What do you think? What do you think it was? What can I do? So people are pretty open about discussing it now, at least with us.
Oh yeah, and I take it the two people with you, how does it affect them? I mean, they're the ones that are actually, I take it, are getting the messages from the spirits.
Well, we're all three getting messages, but they're getting it through intuition and more directly. I'm getting it through, again, the higher power and the pendulum. But we're all three making contact. But they have a more I don't want to say more powerful, but more visual experience than I do, because they can actually sense